as I do a little hover test. Just to make sure he's got power, so.
Alright.
The 3S will barely, it'll start to drop on 3S. Okay, ready? Okay, right's right, left is left, up, down is down, up is up. Okay, ready? Okay, go. Yeah, I could fix pretty much anything on 4S. Woo! I'm at 3/4 throttle or so.
Yeah.
I was watching a few skunk work videos where they were pushing this guy to the limit. Here, let me go up high. Let me show you my roll rate, Maurice.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Whee!
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was a little off center because my wing's actually loose. They came up with a really bad way of tightening the. They use wooden. They use balsa, little balsa holes, and then you screw in the balsa holes. But after you screw into them, like they strip out pretty much. And then every time you crash on the wing, it loosens it out of the little slot they were in. Flying is the easy part. Landing's the hard part. Okay, let me go at least one high-speed bank. I mean, one high-speed dive. "51 seconds. I just need a little bit more speed, you know what I'm saying, Maurice?
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Maybe I'll do that one more time. Get some altitude, then roll back. Okay, that's it. I don't have any flaperons on this guy either, so. There's off on throttle. He's heavy too. He's about 2 pounds. Throttle's off. See how the throttle off, how fast it goes?
Yeah, that's pretty fast.
Just trying not to destroy my 4S, you know?
Yeah.
Whoa.
There you go.
Oh, shit. This ain't too much, man. Oh. Oh, yeah, she moving.
That's a lot of power, dude.
I'm like 3/4 throttle. I need to trim her down a little bit. Perfect throw. Yeah, she definitely needs to be trimmed.
My heart was beating fast, dude.
Yeah, mine's beating fast too. I'm gonna take it up high to
Yeah,
get it trimmed.
Yeah, but go up then, take it up there and get the baby trimmed out, dude. You got it though. Good job, though, man. Thank you for putting my ass.
Oh yeah, that was a perfect throw. I just need a little bit of run out. That's full throttle.
Nice, dude.
But yeah, it's freaking like it's on rails, dude. Woohoo!
Rolls on a dime, man.
Yeah, she's moving. Oh, did he hit? Did he just hit the ground? He did? Alright, I'm running out of battery, so let's go ahead and take it for a dive. Speed dive. Alright, now it's the complicated part, right? It's the landing. Alright, 13 seconds. Here we go. Alright, here, check it out. Power's off. I'm still going. That's power off. Nose? Is the nose? She's still on. Woo!
Hey, this is Steven from RC Engineering, and welcome to the end of my Stinger 64mm high performance EDF review. This guy runs on a 4S 2200, and I'm going to explain here why I do not recommend this jet unless you're a very avid DIYer and you plan on doing heavy modifications right out of the box. So I wanted to talk about the three different features that really hold this jet back out of the box, at least. Number one, what you'll see in the video is it just lacks power out of the box. It's 2836 motor in there. I think it's like I can't remember. I'll have to boot up my laptop here. It's a 3300 kV motor. Even on 4S, it just doesn't have any power. As you saw at the beginning of the very first clip where I had it just kind of hover, it just kind of hovered in my hand. It didn't try to like take off. It just hovered. So it like has barely over a 1-to-1 power to weight ratio because this model is extremely heavy. On a 4S 2200, it weighs almost like 2 pounds. I can't remember the exact weight, but I think it's almost 1 kilogram, which is 2.2 pounds. So with that weight, it just doesn't have the power to push that with the battery. There's just too much body weight in this model itself, because the model is really heavy. But that also leads to its flight characteristics in the air, mainly its momentum and how it just kind of carries itself even with throttle off. So that's number one, is the power is not really high performance. Because that power is so lacking, it makes hand launching very difficult. So if you're planning on flying this yourself without any sort of launcher, like some sort of rubber band launcher or some sort of pneumatic air-powered launcher, do not get it because it's nearly impossible to launch it. And generally, I was not able to launch it underhand. I had to get, as you see in both footages, I had to get someone to launch it for me because you just need to put so much force behind it. And this is flying with a very decently high C 4S Venom battery. So it just didn't have the power to just take off out of your hands. So you had to have somebody help you do that. So unless you have a launcher or somebody else that is pretty much guaranteed to be there when you have the jet and when you plan on flying the jet, I would definitely not recommend it unless you're going to do modification on swapping out the motors. So that's the number one is either have a friend there or swap out the motors or buy a launcher. Some sort of sling or pneumatic. Number two is how these wings are attached. So let me get my cable here free. So let's show how these wings are attached. So you have 4 screws on the bottom here, right? And what you'll notice is that this guy has got a lot of movement, a lot of up and down movement. And the reason being is that Freewing, for some reason, thought it was a good idea to stick little pieces of balsa wood in there. You see that little plank of balsa? I'll zoom in. It's probably going to lose focus here in a second, but there's that piece of balsa. And then here's another one on this side. So basically what happens is these screws, which are like sheet metal screws, kind of self-tap themselves into those pieces of balsa. But every time you take these out and put them back in, it strips the threads. If they're not put in exactly perfectly, they strip the threads out of the balsa, and then now they no longer tighten anymore, and you'll get this. And this causes a lot of wobble, a lot of tail wobble in the air, and is just overall annoying because you could lose a lot of control. Now this guy had a different problem. As you see in one of my crashes probably, it actually broke free the CA on the balsa, and so now if I reach in there with my hand, I could actually rotate the piece of balsa in there. So now this guy would never get tight even if it didn't strip out, because every time you tighten it, it's just going to rotate the balsa around, not actually tighten, because there's nothing holding the balsa. And I believed I already CA'd it in there and it already broke free. So you have two different causes. You have one problem and 2 different causes. One, it strips the threads out. 2, it breaks that balsa wood piece free from the foam. So what I would recommend is immediately right out of the box, take this off. Don't even put those screws in there. Don't even put this wing on yet. This wing comes separate. And rip those balsa pieces out. Get a piece of aluminum, drill, and tap it. And then use fine thread screws to screw in here to hold these wings down. And make sure you get fine thread, because that piece of aluminum plate is not going to be very thick. And then CA the crap out of that piece of aluminum into here, and then thread into those threads, and those will not break down for you, and this will stay perfectly strong. And you could take out this guy and do all the motor mods you want and never have to worry about beating up those threads again, which obviously, like I said in the first case, is what I recommend doing, is doing a motor swap on this guy, which if I ever do get it back together is what I plan on doing. The final one, which really beats these models, these EDF models, is the nose. These EPO is a pretty durable foam, but it's not very tough. So it doesn't move very far before breaking off. So what I did happen a lot on this guy is I broke the nose off about 4 or 5 times. And it being what I would say is a decent first jet, obviously, like I said, without all its problems, I thought it was a decent first jet. And again, after this point, not so much. If you land it all just slightly nose down, you're going to break this off. I broke it off, again, like I said, 4 or 5 times. And what happens is EPO will compress. So when you put this guy back on there, this piece is compressed more than the nose, and now they don't fit together. So you have to use giant foaming glue to hold the nose on. So what I tried to do is I tried to make this rubber piece, but that didn't work out. So what I would recommend is right out of the box, cutting this guy right here and finding a way to make the nose magnetically attach onto the rest of the plane, because otherwise you have to pay $30 to get a brand new body for this plane itself. And that is a feature that they're finally adding on newer planes like the new Striker, to where they have breakaway noses. So every time you land wrong, your nose bops off of the magnets and you just snap it back on, you're ready to fly. So that's what I would highly recommend, and I'll show you guys the mod if I ever buy a new body for this thing. So finally, the last thing, I mean, it's okay. I mean, if you're gonna do heavy mods, it's a great is a great plane to do heavy mods on, and you'll see them on skunkwork channels and stuff. This is a plane I would recommend if you're gonna do heavy mods. If you want to buy something right out of the box, I would not recommend it. Heavy mods, okay. Out of the box flyer for first jet or whatever, do not recommend it. So this has been Steven from RC Engineering, and I hope you guys like this video. If you like this video, please subscribe, and please go ahead and head to my Patreon to help me out with my videos. I also have some free exclusive content links in the description. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. Peace.